When we last saw number 64, she was busy pulling out all the releases from zones C and D. Her next task is to sort them according to their connection, northbound, eastbound, or westbound. I've color-coded the switch list to give you an idea of which cars are going where. They are jumbled up. The red cars are the ones headed northbound on the Q&NE. The dark blue cars are the ones headed westbound on Conrail, and there's one lone car headed eastbound on Conrail. Most of the cars that we are switching today are on one track here that number 64 is pulling out, but you'll recall from 2 videos ago that 2 of the cars released from C and D zone were placed temporarily on the interchange track. That's the Santa Fe box and the CN sand car. Keep an eye on the main central boxcar. That one's actually a hold for future placement at the warehouse, so she'll get shoved around here and there. She's in the way most of the time, but she's not connecting outbound. In our first pass here, we're going to separate the Santa Fe boxcar from the 2 cars behind it. The Santa Fe car is headed westbound, and the CPAA and Bangor and Roostook cars are headed northbound. We're going to build the northbound cut on the arrival departure track for now, because it's got the most cars. We're going to leave the main central hold and the Conrail box, which is an eastbound, here on the arrival departure track temporarily, while we add the Illinois Central hopper car to the Santa Fe boxcar cut, as they're both headed westbound. With all our eastbound and westbound cars now assembled in the right order, we'll pull the entire cut out, shove it aside, so we can then place the remaining 2 cars, which are northbound, onto the arrival departure track. That completes the switch of the yard track that we pulled, and the Q&NE cut is almost complete. We now have to go back to the interchange track and pull out the Santa Fe box and CN hopper and put those in the right place. We're going to take these last two cards to the east end of the yard and complete our switching moves from there. We're going to run around through the thoroughfare track. The Santa Fe boxcar is a westbound car, so it has to be on the west side of the interchange track. And so we're going to go in and grab the Conrail and Main Central Hold cars from the cut that we just finished sorting and pull them out to place the Santa Fe boxcar on top of the other westbounds at the west end of the cut. That main central boxcar is just along for the ride. We're now going to back onto the thoroughfare track, pick up the lonely CN hopper, pull it back, and place it on top of the other northbound cars on the arrival departure track. In order to make this move, we have to run through the far east end of the yard, past the diesel facility, and across the roadway, because the arrival departure track is the longest track in the yard. It holds some 17 cars, but the access to it is much further away as a result. Now that our northbound cut is complete, we're not going to leave it on the arrival departure track because we need to keep that clear for the next train arrival. So we're going to pull the entire northbound cut from the arrival track and place it over onto a yard track. This requires another move across the road crossing, and we need to charge the hill a little bit. It's a 2% grade up toward the upper industrial area. we're actually shoving these cars on top of the cut of eastbound and westbound connections, and we're going to shove the entire cut through the west end of the yard to set up the interchange track with the eastbounds and westbounds, and that will leave us with the northbounds first up on the track, ready for departure. We're just going to hold here for a moment while a crewman heads out to the interchange track and lines the switches. The interchange track holds about 14 cars, and sometimes there's enough room to hold both the eastbound and westbound cuts on one track. And so that's how we typically start the sorting procedures at the beginning of the day. But towards the end of the day, if we run out of room, we have to separate them onto different tracks. So what we're doing here is holding our cut off to the side for a moment while we reach in and pull out the eastbounds, which are on the east end of the interchange track, so that we can push the westbounds on top of the other westbounds that are already on the track. With this move, we now have all of the westbounds, eastbounds, and northbounds in that order in this long cut. Let's see if we can fit all of the westbounds and eastbounds onto the interchange track. It looks like there's a couple of car lengths to spare for now. We'll have to revisit the situation when the transfers arrive from the upper industrial and lower industrial areas. They're sure to have many cars destined for interchange with Conrail, both eastbound and westbound. With the interchange track set up for now, the last move for number 64 is to pull the Quebec and New England northbound cut back into the yard track. That wraps up our activities in the interchange yard for now. Number 64 is going to hold here and wait for the arrival of the upper industrial area transfer.